In this video, we are looking at one of FastAPI's most praised features, the fact that it reads your Python code and automatically produces a full, interactive API reference. By the end, you will know how it works, what drives it, and when it genuinely helps versus when it adds unnecessary weight. The classic pain point is that documentation lives in a different place from the code that actually runs. A developer updates a query parameter or adds a field to a response, but forgets to update the Swagger YAML file. Now the docs lie and consumers are confused. You end up with three sources of truth: the code, the schema file, and the docs, and they drift apart constantly. Think of a restaurant where the printed menu is generated automatically from whatever the kitchen actually has in stock that day. Nobody types the menu by hand, it reflects reality. FastAPI works the same way. Your Python function signatures and type hints are the kitchen, and the documentation is the menu that gets generated from them automatically, always in sync. FastAPI inspects every route you define, the path, the HTTP method, the parameter types, and the response model. And from that information, it constructs an OpenAPI schema, which is a standardized JSON document describing your entire API. It then serves two UIs from that schema: Swagger UI at /docs, where you can call endpoints directly from the browser, and ReDoc at /ReDoc, which gives a cleaner read-only reference. The raw schema itself is available at /OpenAPI.json. Let us walk through this top to bottom. We pass title, description, and version into the FastAPI constructor. These appear as the header of the generated docs page. The book Pydantic model declares 4 fields with Python types. FastAPI reads those types and describes the response shape in the schema. The @app.getDecorator registers the route. Response_model equals book tells FastAPI what the successful response looks like and adds it to the schema. The path parameter book_ID is typed as int, so the docs show an integer field. The verbose query parameter uses query with a description string. That string shows up as a tooltip in Swagger UI. Finally, the docstring on the function becomes the long description for that endpoint. Nothing extra needed. Visit /docs and it is all there. When your application starts up, FastAPI iterates over every registered route and reflects on its signature using Python's type system. Each Python type maps to a JSON schema type. Int becomes integer, str becomes string, a Pydantic model becomes an object with properties. All of that is assembled into a single OpenAPI document and cached. When a browser hits /docs, FastAPI returns a small HTML page that loads Swagger UI and points it at /OpenAPI.json. So the interactive UI is always reading the live generated schema. The automatic docs are genuinely useful when other developers or clients need to understand and call your API. They get an always accurate, interactive reference at no extra cost. However, if you are running a private internal service with no human consumers, you might disable the docs entirely with docs_URL equals none to reduce the exposed surface area. Similarly, be careful about treating Swagger UI as your only testing strategy. It is a great discovery tool, but it does not replace a proper test suite. To recap, FastAPI eliminates the gap between code and documentation by generating the OpenAPI schema directly from your Python types. Swagger UI and ReDoc are served automatically with no configuration. The richer your type hints and Pydantic models, the richer the docs. And when you do not want the docs exposed, in production or for sensitive services, you can turn them off with a single constructor argument.